Hello, my friend. Welcome to this powerful and inspiring journey. Today, I'm going to tell you a real story. Not a fiction, not a movie, but a story. OFO, one man, one idea, and one family built the biggest car company in Yes, I'm talking about Toyota. But this is not just a business story. It's a story about struggles that will break your heart, decisions that change that world, dreams that refuse to die, and lessons that will stay with you for life. In this story, you will learn how to build something from zero, how to serve failure, war, betrayal, and poverty, how to think like a leader, and how to stay humble when you reach the top. And not only that, you will also improve your English, because this story is told in simple, emotional, clear English. So even if you are a beginner, you can enjoy every word and feel more confident at the end. So take a deep breath, close all distractions, and listen to the story that changed the car industry and inspired the world. Part 1. Before the beginning, before there was Toyota, before there were cars in Japan, before the world knew about Toyota Corolla, or Land Cruiser, or Prius, there was a little boy named Sakichi Toyota. Yes, this story doesn't begin with Toyota, the company. It begins with Sakichi Toyota, the father of the Toyota. Sakichi Toyota was born in a small village called Kosai in Shizuoka, Japan, in the year 1867, just 2 years after the end of Japan's feudal era. His family was poor. His father was a carpenter. There was no electricity, no cars, no factories, only rice fields, wood, and survival. Beautiful as a little boy, Sakichi had one strange quality. He loved machines. While other kids played with toys, Sakichi would sit and look at how things worked. One day, he saw his mother, using a wooden hand loom to weave cloth. It was slow. It was tiring. And Sakichi thought, what if I can build something better? That was the first spark, his first invention. At age 18, Sakichi Toyota began building something with his bare hands. He had no engineering degree. He had no rich mentor. He had no modern tools. He only had a dream to build a better life for people through machines. By age 23, he built his first improved wooden hand loom. It was faster, easier, and made better cloth. People in the village were shocked. How did this boy build a machine? But Sakichi was not satisfied. He kept improving year after year, failure after failure. In 1891, Sakichi got his first patent, a legal right to call the invention his own. This was a big deal in Japan. He called it the Toyota wooden hand loom. Soon after, he opened his first small factory in Nagoya. He started hiring people. He was no longer just a dreamer. He was now an inventor, leader, and builder. By 1906, Sakichi created something that changed Japan forever: the automatic power loom. This loom could stop automatically if a thread broke. Something never seen before. It saved time. It saved cloth. It was revolutionary. And here's something important. This automatic stopping system would later become a key idea in Toyota cars. A system where machines could stop when something was wrong. Even in weaving, Sakichi was building the future of safety. Sakichi had a son. His name was Kikiro Toyota. Born in 1894, Kikiro grew up watching his father work hard, fail, build again, fail again, and keep moving. He didn't just inherit his father's name. He inherited the fire, the mind, and the mission. Kikiro was smart, but he didn't want to stay in the... He wanted to go beyond weaving. He wanted something new. In 1921, Sakichi Toyota traveled to London, England. He saw something that would change his life forever. Not looms, not threads, but cars. People driving cars, fixing cars, loving cars. He thought, why don't we build cars in Japan? But there was a problem. In Japan at that time, there were almost no Japanese cars. People imported expensive cars from the West. No one believed Japan could build its own automobile industry, but Sakichi believed. He came back to Japan with one mission. I will build a Japanese car in Japan by Japanese hands for the Japanese people. In 1929, Sakichi Toyota, the father, was getting old. Sakichi had a dream to build cars, but he needed money. So they made the biggest decision of their life. They sold the patent rights of the automatic loom to a British company. How much? $150,000, which is over $2.5 million in today's. This money was not used to grow the loom business. It was not used for life. It was used for one crazy idea. Let's build a car company in Japan. Inside Toyota Automatic Loom Works, a new department was created, the Automobile Division. It was just a small room with a small team and a big dream. Nobody believed in them. People laughed. People said, Japan will never compete with Ford or GM. But Sakichi didn't care. He said, if we didn't start now, we'll always be behind. After 2 years of trial and error, failure and learning in 1935, they completed their first car, the Toyota 1, with a truck version called G1. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't beautiful, but it was Japanese, self-built, real. It didn't look modern. It didn't have the shine of American cars, but it had something more important. A Japanese soul built by Japanese mind, using Japanese tools for Japanese roads. And Sakichi Toyota knew this was just beginning. But they still didn't have a real car company. They were still just a small department inside a textile company. That had to change. In August 1937, Sakichi Toyota officially separated Deca, making department from the loom company. He founded a new company, Toyota Motor Company Limited. But wait, did you notice something strange? Their family name was Toyota. So why was the company called Toyota? There were 2 big reasons. One, in Japanese script, Toyota uses 8 strokes, and 8 is considered a lucky number in Japanese culture. It means growth, success, and prosperity. 2, Toyota was easier to pronounce and write in other languages. Sakichi wanted the company to feel modern, international, and clean. And so, with a simple change of a letter, a brand was born. Toyota, let's be honest, starting a car company in 1937 Japan was almost impossible. Japan had no experience in automobile engineering. They had to import car parts from foreign countries. People were poor. Few could afford a car. They had no customer base and no trust. People still believed American cars were better. Most people thought Toyota would fail within a year. But Sakichi Toyota had something more powerful than confidence. He had conviction. He believed we don't need to be the best right now. We just need to begin. So they hired They trained workers who had never seen a car engine before. They built tools by hand. They used trial and error every single day. And slowly, brick by brick, engine by engine, the company began to breathe. Sakichi Toyota now made a huge decision. Hewlett built Toyota's first dedicated automobile factory in Kamo Aichi Prefecture. This was more than just a build. It was a symbol of belief, a belief that Japan could stand on its own wheels. This plant would later become the Toyota headquarters in the city, Nora named Toyota City in honor of the company. Now, here's something game-changing. To survive and compete, Toyota needed a way to build cars without wasting time, money, or space. So, Kikuro introduced a new idea, just-in-time manufacturing. What did it mean? Don't stock too many parts. Only make or bring what you need when you need it. This reduces waste, saves money, and increases speed. This system would later become the Toyota production system, copied by compagnon the world. It's not just about cars. It's about efficiency, discipline, and respect for time. But just when Toyota was learning to walk, the world started to fall apart. In 1939, World War II began. By 1941, Japan entered the war. Everything changed. Toyota was forced to stop making cars for people. They had to start making military trucks and vehicles for war. Resources were low. Rubber and metal were hard to find. Bombings and destruction were everywhere. And yet Toyota kept going, even with fear, even with chaos. They made trucks with only one headlight to save metal. They made vehicles with wooden parts because rubber was not available. It wasn't about profit. It was about In August 1945, the atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japan surrendered. The war ended. Secondary was destroyed. And Toyota, it was almost dead. Their factories were damaged. Their employees were jobless. The government stopped funding car companies. People were Who needed a car? For many companies, this was the end. But for Toyota, it was the beginning of their true test. Toyota tried to rebuild. They created a small car called the SA, a tiny family vehicle. They also started working on buses and trucks to generate income. But the company was losing money fast, very fast. By 1949, Toyota was in debt. They couldn't pay. They had to borrow money from banks just to stay alive. That year, Toyota made only 300 trucks. Compare that to Ford or GM, who made hundreds of. Everyone said Toyota is finished. They had a dream, but it's. And then this was the darkest moment in Toyota's history. In early 1950, the company was forced to make a painful decision. They laid off 1,600 workers, around 25% of the company. The employees were angry. There were strikes, protests, and walkouts. The dream was shaking. And Katiro Toyota, the founder, the dreamer, he blamed himself. He felt he had failed his father's legacy. He felt he had failed his team. He said, "If my decisions cause pain to my people, I must step down." And so he did. In June 1950, Kakiro Toyota resigned as president of Toyota. Just months later, he died of He was only 57 years old. He never got to see what his dream would be, but his dream was not dead. This is where real legends are born. Not in victory, but in failure, pain, and loss. Toyota was broken. Its founder was gone. Japan was in ruins. But something was still alive inside that company. A belief that we don't stop here. Part 2. The comeback nobody believed. After Kikiro Toyota's death, Toyota was like a ship without a captain. There was no clear leadership. Morale was low. People didn't know if they'd have jobs next month. The Japanese economy was still crushed from the war. But there was one thing still alive. The name Toyota still meant something. It stood for persistence, discipline, and honor. Even in failure, and slowly, a few people inside the company refused to let it die. One of those people was A.G. Toyota, the cousin of Kiro Toyota. Who was A.G. Toyota? A.G. Toyota wasn't loud. He wasn't famous, but he was smart, strategic, and obsessed with improvement. He joined Toyota in the early 1930s and had worked closely with Kikiro now. He took on the impossible mission: bring Toyota back to life, no matter what. But how? The company had no money. They couldn't compete with American cars. Japan's roads were terrible, and customers had lost trust. They needed something radical, and surprisingly, it came from their former enemy, America. In June 1950, just a few months after Kitero's death, something shocking happened. The Korean War began. The United States needed thousands of trucks and vehicles to move soldiers and equipment through Korea. They turned to Japan, the closest supplier, and guess who got the contract? Toyota. Suddenly, this dying company had a lifeline. They were asked to supply over 5,000 military trucks for the US Army. This contract brought millions of dollars in cash flow, and more importantly, it gave Toyota a chance to rest. Imagine that. A war destroyed them, and now a war was saving them. Toyota quickly designed and built robust military trucks with strong frames, off-road tires, and simple mechanics. No luxury, just reliability. The US military loved the trucks. They were tough, durable, and easy to fix. This moment gave Toyota cash, experience, and respect. And inside the company, something was changing. A.G. Toyota realized, if we want to compete with Ford or GM, we can't just copy them. We have to build something better. And to do that, he had to study Thebest. So he did something bold. 1950 A.G. Toyota visits Ford Motor Company in the US. A.G. Toyota visited the Ford factory in Detroit, Michigan, the headquarters of the global car empire. At that time, Ford was producing 8,000 cars per day. Toyota was making less than 100 cars per month. But A.G. didn't feel small. He felt curious. He walked through the Ford assemblies, took notes, observed systems, and thought, how can we do this with less money, fewer people, and better quality? He came back to Japan with a simple idea that would change history. A.G. Toyota and engineer Taichino sat down and said, let's build a system that eliminates waste. Let's build cars that don't break. Let's make production smart, not just fast. And together, they created the world-famous Toyota Production System, TPS. ITHAD, to main principles. 1. Just in time. Don't keep huge stock. Get what you need when you need it, in the exact quantity. This saved space, money, and time. 2. Jedika, automation with a human touch. If a machine finds a problem, it stops automatically. This meant no defects moved forward in the process. Every worker had the power to stop the production line if they saw a mistake. In most companies, workers were told, keep going. At Toyota, they were told, stop it, fix it, then move. This system made Toyota faster, smarter, and better than anyone else without needing billions of dollars. After rebuilding factory, after redesigning the process, after learning from failure, Toyota released its first true passenger car in 1955. Toyota Crown. This was a bold move, until now. Toyota had mostly made trucks, buses, and simple vehicles. D-Crown was different. Comfortable, smooth engine, designed for Japanese roads, and most importantly, fully made in Japan. The crown was a symbol of pride. For the first time, middle-class Japanese families could own a car that felt reliable, modern, and proud. Toyota Medina the huge move. They decided to enter the US market. Think about that. A small Japanese company trying to sell cars in America, the land of Ford, GM, and hug highways. People laughed. They said, "No one will buy a Japanese car in America." But Toyota didn't listen. In 1957, they opened their first American headquarters in Hollywood, California, and exported the Toyota Crown to the US. But there was a problem. The Toyota Crown failed badly in the US. Why? It was too slow for American highways. It overheated quickly. It didn't fit American tastes. Mechanics didn't know how to repair it. Sales were terrible. But Toyota didn't quit. Instead of giving up, they said, "Let's listen. Let's learn. Let's improve." And that mindset would soon transform everything. Back home, something amazing was happening. Japan's economy was recovering. More people had jobs. Roads were improving. Families wanted affordable cars. Toyota focused on low-cost, high-quality vehicles and sales. By 1962, Toyota had made its 1 millionth vehicle. That's right. From almost bankruptcy in 1952, 1 million vehicles by 1962. This was the power of Kaizen, the Japanese word for continuous improvement. Toyota was still not a major global company. They had no popular cars in America. People still said Japanese cars are small, slow, and weak. And that's when Toyota decided, we need to build a car for the whole world. A car that is affordable, reliable, and unstoppable. And so they began to design a legend. Toyota and his team sat down and asked one question. What kind of car does the Voj family need? Not a sports car, not a luxury car, not a military truck, but a car that could carry a small family, was cheap to maintain, used less fuel, could survive for decades, was easy to repair anywhere in the world. And so began the creation of a car that would change the future. Birth of the Toyota Corolla. The name Corolla comes from Latin. It means small crown, a little brother to the Toyota. Crown, but what Corolla achieved was nothing small. It was compact, fuel efficient, inexpensive, easy to drive, easy to fix, and built with incredible precision. In October 1966, the first generation Toyota Corolla was released in Japan, and the world didn't know yet that this car would become the best-selling car in history. Toyota had learned from their past failure. They made the Corolla stronger, faster, and more suited for American roads. And in 1968, they launched it in thus. But this time, people didn't laugh. They were curious. Gas prices were rising. People were tired of big cars with loom. And the Corolla, it gave 32 meters per gallon, costs less than $1,700, and never broke down. In just 2 years, Corolla became a hit in the US. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't sexy, but it was perfectly reliable, and that made it a winner. With Corolla's success, Toyota's income grew fast. 1,965, less than $1 billion revenue. 1,970, over $3 billion. 1,975, almost $10 billion. 1980, over $25 billion. That's the power of one great product own, right? But Toyota didn't stop. Between 1966 and 1980, Toyota released multiple new Corolla models, improved fuel efficiency, improved suspension, brakes, safety features, built more production plants, focused on continuous improvement, cars, added quality control teams at every level, launched Toyota Hiace, Toyota Celica, Toyota Land Cruiser updates. They weren't just growing, they were becoming a global standard. Toyota began building factories and branches in Thailand, Australia, Philippines, Indonesia, Germany, Canada. Instead of shipping every car from Japan, they said, let's build where the customer lives. This made cars cheaper. Toyota created local jobs and built trust in every region. Toyota wasn't just selling cars. It was building partnerships with countries. By the 1970s, Toyota developed a strong internal culture known as the Toyota Way. It had 4 key principles. 1. Continuous improvement, Kaizen. 2. Respect for people. 3. Long-term vision over short-term profit. 4. Go and see for yourself. Genshigen Butsu, Toyota believed, don't make decisions in a meeting room. Go to see it with your own eyes. This made every manager, every engineer, every leader stay close to reality, not just numbers. In 1973, a global oil crisis shocked the world. Fuel prices went very high. Big cars from Ford, GM, and Chrysler were suddenly too expensive to drive. But Toyota, their cars were fuel efficient, light, and affordable. Sales of Toyota cars in America skyrocketed during this period. Suddenly, Toyota was no longer the cheap car from Japan. It became the smart car for smart people. By 1974, the Toyota Corolla had officially become a best-selling car in the world by units sold annually, year after year. Corolla kept improving. By the 1980s, Corolla was being produced in more than 15 countries and sold in more than 150 countries and had sold over 10 million units worldwide. No other car had achieved that. And event today, Toyota Corolla has sold over 50 million units, more than any other car model in human history. That's not just a car. That's immortality. Now, here comes another shocker. In 1984, Toyota and GM, General Motors, became partners. They opened a joint factory in California called Nume, where Toyota taught GM how to use the Toyota production system. Imagine that. The American giant that once laughed at Toyota was now learning from them. This partnership helped Toyota localize its operations, understand the US market better, and hire American workers to build Japanese cars on American soil. It was a brilliant move. By the late 1980s, Toyota was selling millions of vehicles in North America, outselling many American brands known for quality, reliability, and resale value, gaining massive loyalty from customers. Car experts and media started saying, if you want a car that lasts 20 years, get a Toyota. This brand was now becoming part of people's families. Part 3. The Lexus gamble and Toyota's rise to the top of the world. The Corolla became the best-selling car in the world. Toyota became one of the top 3 car brands in America. Their production system was being copied around the world. Their partnerships were growing. Their cars were trusted for fuel efficiency, reliability, and simplicity. But there was still one world left. A world dominated by giants like Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Audi, Cadillac, the luxury car market. And people believed one thing: Japanese companies are good for cheap cars, but they can never compete in luxury. Toyota heard that, and they smiled, because deep inside their headquarters in Japan, they were already building a secret weapon. No, not Formula One racing. This F1 stood for, and flagship. One, a secret mission to build the world's best luxury car from zero. Not just another Toyota model, but a new brand. Something that could beat Mercedes-Benz on luxury, beat BMW on performance, beat Cadillac in smoothness, and beat everyone on price, quality, and experience. They didn't want to copy the best. They wanted to become the new standard. In 1983, Toyota chairman Ag Toyota called a secret meeting and said, "Can we create a luxury car that will compete with the world's best?" There was silence. Then someone said, "We don't know." Ag replied, "Then let's find out." This was not a marketing stunt. It was Toyota's biggest project ever, and they gave it everything. Over 1,400 engineers, over 2,000 technicians, $1 billion budget in the 1980s dollars, 450 prototypes, over 2 million test miles. No shortcuts, no recycling parts from other Toyotas. They started from a blank page. This wasn't just about making a car. It was about challenging perfection. Examples, engineers, tested doors opening and closing over 20,000 times. They designed a new engine from scratch. Quiet, smooth, powerful. They tested wind noise using Japanese bullet train tunnels. They tuned the sound system with professional musicians. They tested the car in Arctic cold, African heat, and American highways. Every screw, every seat, every light was tested for perfection. This wasn't a car anymore. It was a statement. But there was one big problem. They couldn't launch this as Toyota. Why? Because even though people respected Toyota, they didn't see it as luxury. So Toyota did something brilliant. They created a completely new brand with no name, no history, no legacy, only performance. After 6 years of development, the car was ready. Toyota named the new brand a name that sounded modern, futuristic, clean, elegant. Some say it came from the words luxury plus elegance plus us, United States, and the car. It was called the Lexus LS 400. It was a 4-door sedan, but not just any sedan. It had a V8 engine with 250 horsepower, a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 8.5 seconds, near zero cabin noise, automatic tilt steering, memory seats, an advanced anti-lock braking system, and perfect suspension that felt like flying. And the price, only $35,000. Compare that to a Mercedes S-Class, which cost $60,000 plus and was louder, heavier, and less fuel efficient. The moment arrived. Car magazines and daughter journalists lined up to test the Lexus. And what happened? They were blown away. Headlines said, "Lexus changes everything. Luxury will never be the same. The Japanese have arrived, and they're serious." People couldn't believe this car was Toyota's creation. Sales exploded. That's a huge number for a luxury brand with zero history. It beat BMW, it beat Mercedes, and it shocked Detroit. In its very first year, Lexus became the #1 luxury import brand in America. In just 2 years, Lexus was outselling BMW, Audi, Jaguar, Cadillac in some regions. And Toyota proved the world wrong. Temporary, The other is transformational. Imagine a balloon can fly high, fast, but only for a short time. It goes wherever the wind takes it. Why? Because it has no roots. It depends on air motivation, and once that's gone, it falls. But a tree grows slowly, consistently, rooted deep into thick. It doesn't chase the sky. It doesn't depend on weather. It becomes part of the earth. Strong, solid, unshakable. The balloon is like chasing goals. Fast rise. The tree is like building identity. Slow, deep, permanent. Here's why identity works better than goals. Goals ask you to perform. Identity asks you to embody. Goals need motivation. Identity creates automatic action. Goals can be broken. Identity becomes your standard. Goals live in the future. Identity lives in the present. You can wake up tomorrow and say, I am a disciplined person. Someone who always finishes. I am a focused learner. I am the kind officer who doesn't quit. And your actions will start to follow that identity. How to build a consistent. Choose one identity you want to build. Write it down. I am someone, fill in the blank examples. I am someone who speaks English every day. I am someone who never skips my morning routine. I am someone who shows up no matter what. I am someone who finishes what I start. Take small daily actions that confirm it. Don't try to prove the world. Prove it to yourself through small evidence. Examples: 5 minutes of English speaking equals proof. 1 paragraph of writing equals 10-minute walk equals proof. 1 journal entry equals proof. Every action becomes a vote for your new identity. Repeat until you don't have to try. You don't try to brush your teeth. You don't try to check your phone. You do it because it's part of who you are. That's what consistency becomes, when your habit becomes your personality. Stop trying to force consistent action. Start becoming a consistent person. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. So build it brick by brick, decision by decision, and your consistency will take care of itself. Lesson 7. Track it, see it, respect it. Why do so many people give up halfway? They feel like, I don't see progress. Nothing's changing. But the truth is, progress is happening. They just can't see it. And the human mind loses motivation quickly when it can't see the reward. That's why consistent people see a secret tool. They track their progress. They measure their habits. They visualize their journey. Because what you track, you start to value. And what you value, you start to protect. Imagine you're driving to a new city. If you use a GPS, you always know where you are, how far you've come, how much eye lift, if you're off track. Even if you make a wrong turn, the GPS corrects you quickly because it's tracking everything. Now, imagine driving without a map, without signs, without any idea where you are. You might be going in. You might quit halfway. Not because you didn't move, but because you couldn't see your progress. Tracking is like using GPS for your habits. It shows you the path, the proof, and the progress. So, you keep going. If you can see it, you'll start to believe it. And if you believe it, you'll protect it. Let me know if you want a visual analogy, too. The benefits of tracking your progress. It makes invisible growth. You may not feel your body change after 10 workouts, but a chart shows you've shown up 10 times. You may not speak perfect English after 15 days, but a log shows you've practiced daily. This visible evidence builds confidence. It builds momentum. You don't want to break the chain. When you see 10 check marks in a row, your brain wants to add the 11th. Tracking creates pressure, but the good kind. It makes you feel like, I've come this far. I won't break now. It helps you course correct. Tracking isn't about guilt. It's about awareness. You can look back and ask, why did I miss 3 days here? What made week 2 better than week 4? Where did I feel You don't have to guess. You have real data. Easy ways to start tracking for beginners. Use a wall calendar or notebook. Every day you'll complete your habit. Mark A. Make it bold. Make it visible. Let it feel satisfying. Use a simple habit tracker app. There are many free ones. Choose your own that's clean and easy. Don't focus on perfection. Focus on showing up daily. Create a monthly review ritual. At the end of each month, ask, how many days did I show up? What helped me stay on track? What made me slip? This turns your life into a personal feedback system. Make tracking fun. Reward yourself after 10 days. Challenge a friend to join. Turn your habit into a visual story. Why this works? Because we all crave proof that we're making progress. We all want to feel like it's working. And when you track your effort, you give yourself the proof your mind needs to stay. Tracking turns chaos into clarity. Tracking turns I think into I know. Tracking turns habits into pride. You've worked too hard to forget your progress. Start tracking it. Start honoring it. Start seeing yourself grow day by day, because what gets tracked gets improved, and what gets improved becomes. Lesson 8. Your environment is stronger than your willpower, and don't fight your environment. Design it to make you win. Let's begin with this painful truth. You are not weak. You are not undisciplined. You are not broken. You're just trying to stay consistent in an environment designed to make you fail. You want to wake up early, but your phone is the last thing you tuck at night and the first thing in the morning. You want to stop scrolling, but your apps are on your home screen, easy to tap, always open. You want to focus on English, but your room is noisy, cluttered, full of distractions, sand triggers from your past. This is not a willpower problem. It's and winners don't try harder. They design better. If you sit in front of a table with chips, chocolate, and pizza, even if you're trying to eat clean, your brain will eventually siege one bite. But if you sit in front of a table with fruit, green tea, and a journal, even I fear feeling lazy, you might drink something good and start writing. Why? Because your environment decides your decisions, not your dreams, not your goals, not your motivation. Meet Elio. He wanted to build a daily writing habit, but every time he sat down to write, his phone buzzed. His desk was messy. His room had distractions everywhere. He thought, maybe I'm just not meant for this. But he made one powerful change. He cleaned his desk, removed everything except his notebook and a pen, kept his phone in another room, put Ainazine selling headphones, set a timer, lit a candle. Suddenly, he didn't need to push himself anymore. The environment started pulling him into focus. He wrote every day, not because he had more willpower, but because he had created a space where writing became easier than quitting. How to design a consistency-friendly and make your desired habit obvious. Want to read more? Keep a book on your bed or desk. Want to write daily? Keep a pen and journal in plain sight. Want to practice English? Keep your learning app open, visible. Want to walk every morning? Keep your shoes next to your door. What is seen gets done. If your habit is hidden, it will be remove friction from good habits. Make it easy to start. Keep your workspace ready. Set up your journal the night before. Use one-click access to your learning tools. Automate reminders. When starting feels light, you stop avoiding it. Increase friction for bad habits. Make distractions harder to log out of apps after use. Delete shortcuts from your home screen. Put your phone in another room during deep work. Use a website blocker when studying. This isn't about restriction. It's about protecting your attention. Design a habit corner. Even if you live in a small space, create a small dedicated zone, a floor mat for meditation, a chair near a window for journaling, a clean table for English study, a corner for stretching or reading. This place should say to your brain, when we sit here, we grow. Surround yourself with builders, not. You cannot grow in a toxic forest. People who gossip, complain, delay, they pull you back. You need to be near people who are learning, practicing, improving, sharing knowledge, respecting your routine. If you don't have those people physically, find them digitally. Watch videos that join groups that inspire, follow creators who lead. Your environment encodes what you consume. You're not failing because you're lazy. You're failing because your environment is designed for failure. So, stop blaming yourself. Start building your space. Make it beautiful. Make it calm. Make it focused. Make it safe. And then watch what happens. Let me say this to you from the heart. If you've come this far in the video, you're not like everyone else. You're not just watching for fun. You're not just curious. You're serious. You're hungry. You're ready to change. And most importantly, you are ready to become consistent. You don't want to start and stop. You don't want to feel guilty anymore. You don't want to be the person who keeps quitting every time life gets hard. You want to build something real, something solid, something powerful, a life that no one can take away from you. But here's the truth. No one will do it for you. Not your friends, not your family, not your coach, not even me. You have to do it. You have to show up. You'll have to protect your future like it's your child, because it is. And I know it won't be easy. You'll be tired. You'll be tested. You'll be tempted to go back to your old life. But when that moment comes, remember this. You are not that old version anymore. You are Con. Just have to move forward without stopping. Today, Toyota by the number saver, 370,000 employees operating in over 170 countries. Annual revenue over $275 billion. Over 12 million cars sold per year. World's #1 automaker by many rankings. Over 20 million hybrid vehicles sold. Over 50 million Toyota Corollas sold. And a legacy of honor, excellence, and humility. This was not just a company story. This was a human story. A story of a boy who watched his mother weaving on a broken loom. A son who dared to sell his father's invention to chase a new dream. A brand that rose from war, survived failure, and led the Green Revolution. A company that cried in front of the world and then stood up again. Toyota is not just a car company. Toyota, a philosophy. And that's why this is not just the best success story in the world. It's a story that deserves to be remembered forever. If this story inspired you, please share this with someone who needs hope, motivation, and purpose. And remember, from silence, from failure, from nothing, you can build something that moves the world.